Okay, so this is our grocery point of sale interface on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side we have the fuel pump panel display. Over here for convenience store we have menu items and menu categories that's completely configurable. Over here we have our point of sale functions, and here we have a contextual panel that updates depending on what you're doing in the store. Today we're going to prepay for gas on pump 1. We're going to buy a bag of ice and a propane tank. The propane tank requires an assistant to go to the counter to get it. So an alert appears on the Fujitsu wearable device that a clerk in the store can acknowledge and send a message back to the point of sale explaining that they're coming with the propane for the customer. The message appears at the top. Once the transaction is paid for, we see the stacked transaction for pump 1 in the panel here. Now I can come over to the simulator that is example of the fuel pump in the forecourt. I can pick my fuel grade and select a receipt and begin to pump my fuel. And when the customer is done and replaces the nozzle, the transaction is automatically updated to the point of sale application for the cashier to see that $10 was pumped and $39.96 is required to be refunded to the customer. The cashier can take this and can choose to either refund the customer immediately or mark the transaction as uncollected change for potentially a later refund in the store. I'll mark this as uncollected change so that I can demonstrate once the customer comes back at a later date, the cashier can go into the admin menu, uncollected change reports, and pick out the transaction that was marked as uncollected change to be given their refund of their cash transaction. If, for example, there's an item that rings up at the wrong price, for example, ice cream at $90, the attendant can request someone in the store to go and verify the price. An alert is sent again to the task force watch, and the attendant can select to enter a new price, verify the price on the shelf, go into the interface to key in the new price, and say done. This price is then transmitted back to the cashier at the point of sale lane, where they can then initiate a modify step. Now at this point, the manager is notified because in order to do a price override, a manager has to authorize the transaction. So they are able to do that remotely by saying remotely acknowledge and then send that message back to the POS, and that alert is cleared. The cashier can now process the override for the transaction, and now our ice cream is at a reasonable $5. Now something else that we can do is also to pay for transactions directly at the pump and use a loyalty card to have discounts on the price of the fuel. So if I scan my loyalty card, where the regular price of gas is $2.49 a gallon, it will now look up the loyalty account information and apply a 45-cent per gallon discount to that particular purchase. Now I lift the nozzle, and over here the cashier is alerted to authorize the transaction so that the fuel pump will be enabled, and as well the task force receive the alert as well. Once the pump has been acknowledged, it will go into a fueling state represented by green and a fuel droplet, and now the customer may select their fuel grade and begin pumping their fuel. When done, replace the nozzle, and as before, the transaction is transmitted to the point of sale for it to be completed. We can have up to 4 transactions in progress per lane. We can have up to 64 lanes grouped in pages of 16 pumps each. The last thing that I'd like to demonstrate is our integration with Integro, which we can see here. Various devices, hardware and software, are both monitored in the point of sale application through Integro. In this example, I'm going to lift the cover of the printer and the status of that fuel pump is going to turn red. So the cashier may select this and can troubleshoot the problem, and if she's not able to resolve it herself, she's able to open a ticket. When she opens the ticket, a ticket is opened to the help desk using a RESTful API that can be subscribed from any system that is integrated to the solution, and any device, mobile device, tablet, PC, server. Commands can be sent down to the store to reset, to gather logs, to transmit information in both directions. And if the cashier is able to resolve the transaction, she may come in and close the ticket herself, mark it as done. The status will return to green, and the help desk ticket will be closed.
Fujitsu, shaping tomorrow with you.